Guided Pathways and WC's Culture of Caring, thank you guys so much for coming. Some of you might have heard rumblings of the term guided pathways. If you're a student, you're probably like, I have no idea what that is. Sometimes if you're faculty and staff, you're like, I still don't know what that is. Guided Pathways is a national initiative. One second. I worked really hard to make sure we had captions. There are captions down there, so just so you know, if you talk during the presentation, it might pick them up, so be prepared. Oh, look at that shock and awe happening right there. Also know that if the thick Texas accent comes out, because it does when I get nervous, it might not say what I'm saying, so be prepared for that one as well. Guided Pathways is a national initiative designed to remove roadblocks for students in their pursuit of higher education degrees and certificates. Weatherford College has really jumped in with this to take a look at what our students are encountering from the moment they set foot on campus because they're interested in attending higher education in some form or fashion, whether it's academic courses, workforce, any kind of technical program. We're looking at that all the way until you guys walk across that stage, get your certificates, or transfer to a university. And we've carefully looked at what's standing in your way. Where do you guys get stuck? What are you having the most issues with? Whether it's in the classroom or out of the classroom, because our goal is to alleviate those barriers as much as possible. It's a lot of work, but what we want to do is make it possible for you guys to reach your goals. So this is our panel of experts. I didn't know what to call you guys. So panel of experts, Dawn Calden, Becky Bird, Jared Abraham, and Brian Dickerson. They're going to introduce themselves here in a moment. But what you've got is 3 individuals that are on our Guided Pathways leadership team. So they are in the trenches, really digging at where we need to hit first. But then we get that unique perspective of Mr. Dickerson, who is basically the person that we go to, and say, hey, we realize that we need to work on this and we want you to do this. And so he's got that outside perspective of how we can help our students. So Dawn, do you want to introduce yourself?
Dawn Calden. I run disability services here on campus. So if you have accommodations, you come through our office. And I also help with orientation, advising, anything else. This is my I'll be starting my 13th year at the college.
And she teaches learning frameworks.
Oh, and I teach a learning frameworks class. Sorry about that.
I'm Becky Bird. I'm Director of Student Services and up at the Wise County campus. So I oversee admissions, registration, application processing, advising, student activities, all up at the Wise County campus. And I am starting my 12th year at Weatherford College.
I'm Jared Abraham. I'm a faculty member in the Humanities Department teaching English. I'm in my 11th year now at Weatherford College. In a previous life, I was chair of the Humanities Department. And that was like when I first got associated with like Guided Pathways, was kind of in that role, and then I've kind of morphed my role since then. So.
I'm Ryan Dickerson, and I originally started at Weatherford College as an academic advisor about 1.5 years ago. And I am now office out of the Welcome Center and student life coordinator, working with career services, academic advising, intramural sports. So if you want to discuss any of those things or want to get involved, maybe look over your resume, visit me in the Welcome Center. And my background is in counseling psychology. I'm working to become a credentialed licensed counselor, and I teach intro to psychology and lifespan at the Granbury campus currently.
There was originally a person who would introduce the presentation giver. So I did not introduce myself, but that person's not here. I'm Shantee, Siebuhr, the Guided Pathways Specialist. I wear a couple hats around campus. I'm housed in the Welcome Center, so I work with our students that are coming that have just kind of come on campus to see if maybe college is the right fit for them. But I also work with our Guided Pathways leadership team, our Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society, and student ambassador programs. I started out in the Office of Disabilities as the office secretary, and I've been in this position for about a year now. A year. All right, the moment we've all been waiting for.
Everyone has dreams. She's fascinated by technology. They want to start a business. He's inspired to save lives. Those dreams for a good life and well-paying jobs require education beyond high school. But many American college students don't graduate on time or at all, at a high cost to themselves, their families, and taxpayers. Students who are the first in their families to go to college face an even bigger struggle because no one has gone before them. These students are more likely to be low-income students and students of color. We can do better. Guided Pathways is a nationally recognized research-based approach. It helps students of all ages explore their options and work toward a career, not just a degree. It's challenging to translate interests and skills into a career, or understand the education needed to achieve your goals. A student interested in the healthcare field, for example, could earn a one-year certificate and become a pharmacy technician. Or she could earn a 2-year or 4-year degree and become a nurse. Or she might go to medical school to become a doctor. Many times, students don't know all the options within a career field or how to choose among them. This makes selecting the right classes in the right order difficult. No wonder so many students take unnecessary credits or just give up. With Guided Pathways, colleges are making the choices clearer by grouping courses together in broad fields of interest, like information technology, business, or education. With help from advisors, students select a field and are quickly introduced to all their career options. Students learn critical concepts right away and discover pretty quickly what they do or don't like, saving time and money if it's not the right fit. Research shows the sooner a student begins their journey, the more likely they are to graduate on time, with fewer credits and less debt. As students hone in on a specific career, advisors give them packaged program maps for a clear pathway toward that career. The Guided Pathways approach supports students by exposing them to all their options, including transferring to a university to earn a next-level degree.
That's probably one of my favorite, in a nutshell, videos that can explain Guided Pathways. So overall, in all the work that we've been doing over the past couple years, this is our goal in mind. And I think our students, our faculty and our staff have really gotten to see lately how that work is affecting students, but I think our students are going to get to see that as we roll out this new ERP system, that how you guys will do your financial aid, register for classes, and as we start to roll out our communities, because one of the things we learned from our students recently is that Weatherford College, for most of our students, felt like home. It was comfortable. It felt like a safe environment for them to learn and explore and figure out what they were going to do with their lives. And so we really honed in on that and decided that our academic pathways, previously called majors or areas of study, fields of study, I'm sure you guys have heard all sorts of confusing terms like that, we're going to narrow them down into communities. So you've got your STEM community if you want to major in kinesiology or biology or mathematics if you've got one of those brains that I don't have. But then you've got health professions for your nursing, creative and liberal arts for your theater degrees or your art degrees or your education degrees. So I think you guys will start to see more of that as we move towards the fall semester. It's kind of an insight into what you guys will be experiencing. So what has WC been working on? Not good with the PowerPoint and reading you every single thing. But I will give you a moment to look this over because some of the things that we've been doing, we really hit our onboarding process really hard. If we can't get our students on campus and get them to apply to go to college or figure out the financial aid process, we've stopped them before they ever made it to a classroom. And for some students, even setting foot on this campus is an accomplishment. It's a success for them because maybe they don't have that prior knowledge about college life. Maybe they're a first generation college student, and it's intimidating to step into something that you don't know what it's going to be like or that process. So that's where a lot of our efforts have been focused for so long, and we've really started working with our faculty and staff on our degree plans. How's the captions working so far?
They're great.
Cool.
They're great.
Awesome. You might have heard rumblings about task forces. This is a fun way to say a short-term committee. So oftentimes you've got committees that go on for years and years, and they may accomplish a goal, they may not. It may just be something where you've got a group of people in a room discussing something for a year, and hopefully something comes of it. Our goal with these task forces that we've implemented on campus is a quick 30 to 90 day process. We want to have 3 to 6 people get together, focus on this one task, and some of these tasks would be redesigning new student orientation, and so it takes a little longer, or it may be something like our calculator standards, where it just means getting a few people in a room to discuss what calculator is approved for what courses and why, so that there's an overall, this is the standard, and our students know what to expect when they have those courses. These are just a few of the task forces that we have active right now. We have a whole nother list of ones that have mission accomplished, is what I have on my fancy spreadsheet. But what we've got here on this panel are people who are actively working on some of those task forces. So here's where we get to the fun stuff. Our panel of experts. Did you see the need for Weatherford College to join the Guided Pathways framework, and why? Whoa, calm down.
I'm the outsider.
Absolutely. It's a national approach, as you learned in the PowerPoint. There's already been some research that has moved toward this, showing the success of implementing different things within your own community college or university. Here's the deal, everybody's different. We're different than TCC, we're different than NCTCs. We have to do what works for us. We can't do what Texas Tech did or University of North Dakota did. And with that, that's every time we work together on something or within one of those task forces, we have to think what benefits the Weatherford College student and move from there forward. So I think it was important that we jump on that national approach.
The first time I was told about the Guided Pathways kind of initiative here at the campus, my first reaction was, they want us to do what? And I mean, that was when we were first starting to talk about it here, and as far as like in my area, it was largely driven by some state mandates that were coming down, which also were, with those were like, the state's crazy. But I went along with the group to, there's been several institutes that people have traveled to. I went to the first institute with a team from the college, and I mean, just a lot of the data that you hear there in terms of how many extra credit hours students often take that don't count towards their degree field, how many students drop out along the way, not because they can't pass the coursework, but just because of other difficulties outside of college, or how long it's taking in the sequence, or things like that. And so I think out of seeing a lot of like the national data and the state data both, gives a lot of emphasis on why we need to think about these issues that sometimes just kind of are the way they are because they've always been that way, but they don't have to always be that way.
Coming from my own experiences as a community college student, one of the things I thought going in was there was going to be something like this in place, 12, 15 years ago, however long it was. And I took classes, I picked a major, changed a major, and I had thought there was going to be a magical ending to where they were going to tell me where I was going to go start working. And that did not happen. And I didn't have any guidance to go to the university. Like, I would see somebody sitting at a table that you might see in the hallway, didn't really know why they were there, didn't know I should be thinking about going to the university, and no clue what those classes that were needed for that degree plan. And then I get to graduate, get my associate degree, and I was asked by the advisor, all right, so where are you going to transfer, where are you going to go? And I'm like, what are you talking about? So I think from my own experience of feeling like something like this should have already been in place, the fact that we are getting there now is very hopeful. And one of the driving factors of why I wanted to join a community college setting to prevent a lot of the, I wouldn't call them mistakes that I made, but be able to help students maximize their time and their money for the most part. So I think, yes, it's very important. I'm glad we're doing this.
And I'm just going to add something just real quick. As primarily an advisor, so many times we have you all as students come in and say, well, I want to major in this. And for so long, we said, okay, great, we'll help you with that. However, at Weatherford College, we have an Associates of Arts degree and an Associates of Science degree, and we didn't have really specific paths for you to proceed upon. You know, I mean, it was just, okay, well, because you want to major in engineering, we'll get, you know, we'll put you on the Associates of Science degree. And then once we get through the core curriculum, we'll start working with elective credits for you. And so this is actually going to empower you to see what degrees will consist of. And you know, all of a sudden, I was a chemistry major when I first went to school because I liked chemistry in high school. And then when my advisor said, okay, next fall you're going to take organic chemistry and then inorganic chemistry, and we're going to get you into calculus 2 and blah, blah, blah. I mean, I just went, whoop, and because I didn't really know what it entailed. And so this pathways will help you see early on what each degree will entail.
That's a great point. How has Guided Pathways affected your specialized area? Y'all all come from different areas of college.
I can start on that one. So like in the English department, we teach composition 1 and 2 out of my department, and everybody pretty much has to have those. But many students that come into the college are not TSI complete already, and so they go into the developmental sequence, of course. And so this is one of kind of what I was referring to, that like at the statewide level, the legislature has been pushing for both developmental reading and writing and developmental math to have a streamlined process that students can use to move through it. So like on the composition and developmental reading and writing side, I worked along with Shannon McNabb a lot several years ago, and then kind of handed off on my side. But to design like the co-requisite program here at Weatherford College, where in that co-requisite program, students can be enrolled at the same time in both developmental or integrated reading and writing and English 1301, so that students are able to get into that 4-credit course right at the beginning in many cases, not having a year that it has to take before you complete that 4-credit course. And a lot of that comes out of some of the national research on those sort of programs, that if we think about like developmental writing sequences as like a soaker hose, where like water comes out of the end of the soaker hose, but a lot of water is lost along the way through that soaker hose. What happens in like developmental sequences is sometimes students see, it's going to take me how long to do this? 2 years? And many don't even sign up for that first developmental course because of that. It's going to take 2 years to complete this. After that first one, many who pass don't sign up for the second one. Many who pass the second one don't sign up for that third and final one if there's a 3-course developmental sequence. And many who pass that third one don't sign up for the college level one, even though they've done it so far. And so like in that kind of losing people along the way, a lot of times it's not necessarily ability-based that leads to that loss, but just realistically, how long is it going to take? And so that's the idea of, and there's different ways of doing it. Our math department has used an 8-week model to accelerate that program so that you can do a developmental class in 8 weeks and then the college credit class in the next 8 weeks, and still in one semester get credit for both of those. So whether with that co-requisite model or that accelerated successive model.
I'd say from moving in, transitioning to the career services piece, I think there's going to be a higher expectation on connecting our programs with the community, with employers. And so for me, I want to see an engagement with career services, with our college career network, where you can look at job posts, you can look at employers in the industry, and possibly see something you haven't thought about before. Or what I highly recommend with students, and this might be going a little off topic, is what can you do now while you're in school that's going to help you gain that experience, is going to help you get the credentials you need that we might not be able to help you with. And that was something I wish I knew, that I could have gotten a part-time job, I could have gotten an internship, I could have volunteered somewhere and worked in some sort of capacity where I thought I had to have a degree first. And that's not true. And so with my area, I want to have students more engaged with the extracurriculars, let's say, rather than just in the classroom, and helping you connect your abstract thought that's unclear and solidify it, make it more clear, so that way you do have a game plan and a sequencing that makes sense to you and your goals.
I think I kind of addressed when I was talking about the first question, because it has helped with the advisement of students. We are able to help you get on a path and stay on a path. Though we love you as students, we don't want you here for the rest of your lives. So I think that has been the greatest benefit, is helping us help you achieve your goals in a timely manner.
As for our Office of Disability Services, not everyone has a learning difference that comes through our office and gets accommodations, but everyone sitting in this room learns differently. Some of y'all read this caption well and grasp it. Some of y'all want to listen and grasp it. Others need to jot things down and watch and listen. So I think when we have had a big push, and there's been somebody from every department working along with the technology person for UDL, which is Universal Design Learning, and we have ramped that up 200% since we've started the Guided Pathways approach. And that allows instructors to, in their Canvas classrooms, to provide y'all different opportunities to learn what they're teaching, whether it's through a PowerPoint, whether it's through notes, whether it's through videos. And if they're closed captioned or transcribed, a lot of people like that written out so that they can go over it and highlight. Everybody learns different, and that's what UDL's for, all students, not just students that are served through our office. So I'm really proud of the work that that team has done on pushing that out for all people involved.
Well, and the more we use it, I think the more others will pick up on it. I, this morning, made this slideshow, not because I procrastinated, but because I did it in PowerPoint, and I attended someone else's lecture yesterday, and Scott Williams had the closed captions. I love closed captions. Don't mock me. I'm only 33, but I mean, I can't hear anything. I don't know what anybody's saying to me. And if they could be there in real life so I could process what you're saying, that would be fantastic. So I went home and I was like, I'm gonna do that, because I might have people in the audience that would prefer. Plus, sometimes it says something wrong, and that's really funny, and who doesn't want something to happen? Absolutely. It's a nice tension breaker. So is there an area that you have seen the WC has done exceptional work? Not as, it doesn't have to be something that you've worked on, just something that you've seen done. You kind of touched on that with the UDL. So something come to mind that you're like, man, we have crushed that.
I really like the community's approach that where we're going, and kind of clustering our majors, clustering the pathways into larger categories that kind of make sense for those who don't necessarily know what they want to do, but they do know they want to do something in one of these 6 areas, one of these 5 areas. And so I think going to that approach and being able to promote that is going to be really awesome, and I think we've done a good job so far.
I like the thought process that has gone into getting input from students, I think, first, in order to chart how many times does a student have to come to the campus to become a student here first, in order to think about how can we streamline that and cut it down. And I'm sure others up here can speak to like more specific ways that's happened, but in terms of like the banking portion of not having to come back to set up the bank account kind of stuff. And I forget what the numbers were of how many it was originally, down to what it's been streamlined to, in the sense of not having barriers of, I can't just do it all right now, and things like that, so.
The average was 5. We did a survey, and our average was a student from the moment they set foot on campus saying, hey, I think I might want to go to school here, to the time that they showed up on their first day of classes. The average student had to make 5 trips to campus. And we all collectively sat there and said, that's ridiculous. I mean, that's 5 opportunities for a student to go, I don't know if I'm cut out for this. I don't know if I should be here. I don't know if I belong here. I don't know what I'm doing. And stop. And that's not what we want. So we kind of did an update recently, and we had gotten it down to an average of 2. So I mean, I agree. I'm very proud of that. And I had students, I know that many of you, because a lot of you are students, you guys see these survey links in your student email. Hopefully you're logging into your student email. And some of you I've even had come to the Welcome Center and go, is this really something that you're going to read? And yes. I can't talk about what those surveys looked like a few years ago and who sat down and read them, but I can guarantee you now we are designing these surveys directly for our students, because that's what's guiding the work that we do. And we will get a group of 3, 4, I mean, we got all the way up to like 15 people at one point reading through every single response of every single question on a survey. And that's what it takes, because if we're not here to do what our students need us to do, then why are we here?
Well, Guided Pathways is a data-driven approach. So we want to be data-driven in what we change here at the college.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I didn't interrupt you.
No, I was just going to say, how many students on average actually take your surveys?
Not enough. Not enough. Y'all probably saw the scheduling survey that went out not too long ago to your emails, where you had an opportunity to say, I'm an online student, but it's because what I wanted wasn't face-to-face, or I'm a face-to-face student at 8 a.m., but really I need night classes, but they're not available. We had 140 students.
Out of
6,000.
Out of 6,000.
And I think,
Yes.
kind of like a psychological perspective, the people who are taking those surveys, you know, we can say they kind of fit in a certain personality type, and we're going to make decisions based off that group of people, whereas everyone else is going to be missing out, and we're going to keep creating a system toward, let's say, the higher achievers or the go-getters, and you know, that's not going to be fair, that's not realistic. And so getting everyone involved, even if you think your opinion is so common, you know, there's a good chance no one said it yet, and it's going to be really good to have that feedback. And I was talking with Katie from our Internet and Graphics department, and she put a survey out there, and we found out that 50% of respondents prefer to get things in their student email, which she was quite surprised, because there's kind of a joke that you know, students don't read their emails. But I think a lot of you do read your emails, and I'm curious, out of the people that are here, how many of you don't read your emails as a student? And,
They're not.
We won't test. We won't test.
So everyone's reading.
It's a safe space.
That's why they're here. They read their emails, they knew about the conference, they attended.
This is true.
So I think, you know, as a student, yes, I do read my emails, but I think what happens is we get the email, we look at it, and life goes on.
And you don't go back to it.
And then we forget that, oh, I have to go do that. Oh, yeah, I remember seeing that, but oh, the deadline passed or something like that. So I don't think it's that we're not reading the emails or looking at them. I think we look at them, but sometimes life happens.
And sometimes
And to be fair, that happens to us. I mean,
Right.
Resending it.
Or when you get Shantee running through the academic building with a QR code saying, scan this, take this survey, it takes like 2 seconds, I promise. I got a few, no thanks, like it was a trick, but it's not, I promise, I just get really enthusiastic.
One thing that SSS does for us SSS students is they'll email it, they'll text it, and you get some other notifications. So I'm like, Oh, okay, I really need to do that.
They're super serious and they're not gonna leave me alone until I do this. I saw a hand.
I was gonna say whenever you, for what we were doing for the dean's list and how I actually went up to students and asked them if they preferred an email, a mini certificate, or a letter in the mail. So I actually interviewed 100 students. I walked up to them and I asked them personally, and some of them actually do not look at their email.
Yeah.
They won't look into it. They don't even open their email. They don't even have an Outlook, the app or anything.
That makes me cringe.
So, and most of them preferred a letter in the mail more than anything.
A letter in the mail.
Yes.
And that's all good, that's all feedback that we're looking for, because we ultimately know that the students that we're serving right now are not the same kind of students that we had 5 years ago, 10 years ago, maybe even 2 years ago. And so with everything that we do, I know it's a lot to come at you with, but it's just because we want you guys to take ownership. This is your college. We're here to help you facilitate your education and help you with where you want to go, but we can't do that if we don't know what you need. And if that means making a QR code of a survey and running around like a crazy woman forcing people to take a survey, then that's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. So we flipped this because everyone knows that I'm very much a puppies and rainbows positive person. It's what I love the most, but I can also be realistic. And there are some things that we're still working on, or maybe haven't even gotten to at Weatherford College. So I'd like to flip that and ask, what's an area of the college that needs more attention, in your opinion?
Are we flipping this to us or to the audience?
To you, yes.
I think communication. I think communication across the board. I don't think that we have done our best to even communicate guided pathways up to this point, not only to you as students, but as, like Mr. Abraham indicated, what was guided pathways? I kind of had, when I got involved, it was like, kind of know, and just, intuitively guided pathways, so you're, following this path. But I think communication is huge, and we need to do a better job of communicating exactly what guided pathways is, and communicating overall. I'm up at the Wise County campus, and a lot of times there will be changes that affect students and faculty and staff that we are not aware of as quickly as the Weatherford campus is. And so then I get on the phone and I call Granbury and I say, hey, did you hear about this? So a lot of times being at an offsite campus also adds a different level of challenge to that.
And that's the same thing with us, like how we tried newsletters. Some people want it in their email, some don't want it in their email, some want a link on a website. So we've tried to go in and make all those available right now for information on guided pathways. So it's that same dilemma we were facing with students, we were facing within ourselves, within the organization.
Absolutely.
So it wasn't just students.
And the minute we hear about a new method that students might want to communicate through, we do it.
Or we want to communicate through.
I'm on TikTok now, so if I need to TikTok guided pathways, I sure will.
May I use my time to ask maybe one of the audience members what they think we could improve on?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, so a lot of the all the different medical programs at all the campuses, sometimes don't, like the directors don't always communicate like updated changes on the applications or the process of the classes to the counselors. I love my counselor. But I've known like the application process of me about to apply to one, sometimes they are not in line, some are different, so I had to go back and forth a lot between asking my counselor questions about classes I needed to have before the program, and then the director of that specific program. But other than that, they're really.
So program updates and that communication between our advisors who are helping to guide our students and these specialized programs that might have small changes, big changes, whatever it is, and making sure. If it helps, we have actually started, you might have seen a task force that said faculty advisor collaborations. That's new. We did it once last year. We're doing it again this year. And it's where we get all of our advisors, theoretically, because trying to get everyone in one room is really tough. All of our advisors and meeting with certain departments. Last year we only met with certain departments and we learned about those instructors, their teaching methods, what they teach, how they teach, what it's good for, so that our advisors could better advise. And this year we've started to add in those programs so that each year our goal is to sit down so that advisors have the newest, most updated information. And it kind of helps connect that link so that when there is a change, you know exactly who to go to say, oh, by the way, I know that it's not time for updates, but I've got an update for you, and then we can help with that communication. But that's great feedback.
And here's kind of a cool story that I just heard this morning that somewhat relates to that. I had a student in my English 1301 class last semester, or sometime in the last year, who, like the last essay, that is to write a proposal where you're proposing like a plan of action, like what needs to change. And she was focusing on like the nursing program here, needing to have a orientation that could be open for students to be able to come to get kind of information like you're talking about there. And she was saying like she actually submitted it to the program here and that they were open to the idea. So I don't know, like, timelines on that.
I thought they were well.
But in terms of like taking something from a class that leads into
application,
real world change.
And fantastic for her for advocating for what she needed, and that's going to end up helping a lot of other students along the way. We're technically out of time. If you have to get up and leave, I completely understand, but we can kind of speed it up a little through.
Is anyone coming after us?
No.
I think after us it's just the one.
Yeah, I don't think so. If we have to rush out of here, I think we've all done a fire drill at some point. Are you guys working on any special task force that you're just super pumped to share about?
Yes.
Okay.
We have the chatbot that will be coming to the website, and it's going to help students navigate the website, get information a lot quicker, and it'll also have some ability to integrate into your MyWC, and hopefully get the answers you're looking for a lot quicker on our website. So I'm very excited about that. I think it's going to help with advisors, business office, guided pathways. Chatbot.
I'm very excited, although it doesn't apply to any of y'all. The task force has made big strides toward the new, y'all are the first to hear it.
Oh,
CORE, Coyote Orientation and Registration Experience. So that will be, we're super changing it up. It'll be 4 days only, so you have to pick one to attend. So anybody y'all know that wants to apply, we're gonna have, hopefully within a week, we'll have the registration up online.
how many of y'all
For the
attended
event.
a new student orientation before you?
Cool.
Okay, all right. Most of you probably experienced a slideshow presentation, a couple hours, just trying to give you the bare bones of what it's like to be a coyote on the Weatherford College campus or the Wise County campus or the Great Barrier campus. And this task force has really revamped that to give you a full day experience so that when you leave, you feel more comfortable to come back because you know how to navigate pretty much everything.
So been working really hard. We'll be working with the Wise County campus. They do a one for their campus because they serve a lot of northern, it was like probably 15 degrees in some of y'all's counties up there yesterday because it's so much closer to the Oklahoma border. So those students, to keep them from having to make that trip, it's available on that Wise County campus in a format that works for their students. Again, we're not all the same cookie cutters. So we are doing our best to accommodate that.
And I'm just going to mention real quick, you may have seen Framework Fridays. What this is going to do is, truly, hopefully help with communication. And it's going to be an opportunity for either partnering with the faculty advisor committee, collaboration committee, so that we can learn together, but also eventually bringing in students and providing a brief learning opportunity for self-confidence and how to present yourself in class to faculty members, and not be afraid to ask questions, and not be afraid to answer questions. So we look to, and it won't necessarily always be on Fridays either. So, but we're looking to involve students in our Framework Fridays learning experiences.
Absolutely. I'm seeing lots of eyes peering at me.
Yeah, the keynote's in here.
Not a problem. So we didn't get to the part about the culture of caring, but what I'd like to really connect here, because there's like 6 slides after this, and we're not going to get to that. But the culture of caring basically came from Guided Pathways. A few of us went to a couple conferences where other colleges are really working on their culture of caring and how they take care of their students, and we loved it and we adopted it. But it all comes from Guided Pathways, because if we're helping you guys reach your goals and we're listening to you and we're meeting your needs, then ultimately we're providing a culture where we care. And one of the things that we hear a lot with culture of caring is, you didn't care about us before, like this is just a new thing. And Vice President of Student and Academic Affairs, Mike Indy, he recently said, when we talk about creating a culture of caring, we aren't starting from scratch. We're talking about taking what we're already doing and readjusting it to understand the students that we're serving now. And that really resonates with me, because it's not that we didn't care before, we're just making sure that we're caring for you in the way that you guys need so that you can be successful. So we'll skip the other slides. I'm in the Welcome Center, Ryan's in the Welcome Center. Jared Abraham, are you located in the faculty bay?
No, I'm upstairs
Upstairs?
with the science folk.
With the, oh. Man.
There's a misnomer.
You know, I really should know that since I say hi to you almost every day. Becky Bird is located in Wise County, and Don Calden is located in the Office of Disabilities. At any point, if you guys have questions or anything that you need, find one of us. If we can't answer your questions, we will find out if we can.
You can call me, you don't have to drive up there.
Thank you so much, guys.